record. Well,
Okay.
that's all new too. No, so anyway, so we're sitting here talking. I'll recap the recording. Just like, we were talking about how sometimes it's so hard to put words to this and to put words to what we do and to put words to what we feel. And I think that's the challenge of somebody who does have like a body first approach, is that like, and what I shared with Delaila is like, I do these interviews because I still don't know how to describe what body mind living is. All I know is how I feel when I'm living it. But if the irony is that like as soon as I were to have a definition of what it means, it's no longer body mind living because it's been defined and almost like cut off.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
becomes something else. It's like once you catch it, it wants to be released. It goes through its own evolution. It's kind of like it doesn't want to be contained because it's ever changing.
yeah,
That's been my experience.
it's so elusive. And what's also coming up is I know so many people come in and work with us and they're desiring the sense of freedom. And it's funny, I think the same thing is true for that value and desire of freedom. Is like, you can't ever get it, because part of freedom is like having no bounds.
Right.
So if you get freedom, do you have it? Like that
You have it. Yeah. That's
the push pull of it.
Yeah.
This is the philosophical stuff that we need to start really talking about.
Thing. I can sit and talk about this stuff all day. just all of the mystical stuff, the philosophical stuff that we just sometimes just really feel called to like understand. But once we understand a concept, it becomes something else, or there's just so many other elements to it to explore. And so, yeah, I just have come to just know that, that curiosity is just where like life really is. It's not about like getting to like the answer, really truly understanding it and saying like, I know I'm the expert. It's not about that. It's just like, oh, once we've mastered this thing, whatever it is, it becomes something else. It evolves. It changes. As we change, it changes. Yeah.
And I feel like that's like the human experience, is we so desperately want to like this idea that knowledge will save us, and if we have enough understanding. But I just love what you said. It's like as soon as we think we've got it, it evolves into its next thing. One of my goals, and just ways that I approach life, is that I heard this from a mentor of mine, Philip Shepard. He said, the quest is in the question. Like, I would rather seek a question than seek an answer.
Yeah.
Like just the life in the question, like like literally the quest, the experience, the unfolding, the curiosity, the like, what else gets to show itself in that, versus trying to like, and I think I'm going to claim this right now because I don't know if I've ever outwardly said this. I'm going to release any need to define what body mind living is and live in the quest of it. Like, how exciting is that to be like, oh, what is body mind living? Like, that is a quest that I will spend my whole life getting to explore. And that's where the depth gets to come out of it, not because I define it and give it this like little place on its shelf to say, here it is and it's pretty, and the irony, like, you're going to get me rambling now for a minute, but like, I think when we talked a little bit earlier about like the challenge for so many holistic and heart-centered practitioners in, you do your work, you feel this, and then there's business. And all of a sudden, like business, we have to define it. We have to know our ideal client. We have to get our core messaging. And I personally, I'm starting to wonder, is that true? What if we can just simply invite people on the quest?
Yeah. Yes. Just the invitation to explore. Yeah. And like what you said about just the quest is in the question. Like we think we know. Once we think we know we don't know. The more you know, the less you know you don't know. And so let's just honor where everyone else is at, honor where we're at, and just find your next step. Like figure out how you can anchor into something, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't just be like, wandering through the wilderness. I mean, although you can.
That's
you can. but also know that thing, what keeps you connected is guiding you.
Yeah.
And then let's just explore. Let's find what it means for us. Like find what body, mind, living means for us, because it's different for everyone. Like what body, mind, living means to me could be something completely different to someone else. So,
well, and I love that anchoring, because I know you mentioned that quite a few times. Like and I think when you speak of anchoring, it is very intentional. There's like, I can tell when you anchor, like there's a feeling, there's like I feel that when you anchor, you're anchoring into love, you're anchoring into purpose, you're anchoring into connection, you're anchoring into source. Like I feel the depth of your anchoring, and I almost wonder, like when people step into living body mind, or to a healing journey, or to go and work with a physical therapist or body work or whatever, most people don't know what they're anchored into. And so they anchor into default settings of likes on social media, or they anchor into how much money is in the bank, they anchor into like the false idols, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like this, that juxtaposition of anchoring into something, like when you talk about it, it is very freeing. And I think there might be even people who like are avoiding that intentional anchoring because they like not realizing that they're tethered to all these other things that are actually blocking their freedom, versus like a true anchoring. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. You're speaking my language. It's just like, yes, anchoring into that grounded place is how you can really move in, like, through your life with intention and just authentically.
Yeah.
I feel like if there isn't that connection, then you can get kind of jostled around by everything. Your inner world, the outer world, like you there's just like there's no place to be. There's no place to land. So yeah.
Well, and I can even imagine, like, for having chronic pain, if you don't know what you're anchored in, how that can really like just pull you. And maybe you even have better words. I could see how tell me if this is what's coming up. I could almost see, if you aren't intentionally anchoring into source and you experience chronic pain, it's almost like the pain becomes the anchor instead of the source becoming the anchor.
Whoa, yes. Yeah. You've said that so beautifully, because I had to make that choice.
Oh, yeah.
I had to make the choice to, like, okay, and from a really deep place, like, what am I choosing to bring my awareness to? What am I choosing to highlight here? And don't get me wrong, like, yes, with the shock of like a new diagnosis of lupus, and the type that affects your joints and your hands and your muscles, your musculoskeletal system. tripped me up. It was like, Source was like, I was just having like a conversation with that anchor. Like, look, this is wild. What is happening? And to be a body worker, a physical therapist with sometimes an inability to use my physical body can send you into a spiral. It can send you into that like dark place of, well, I don't know now, like kind of like giving up, like, well, you know. So that anchor is just where I find I can give myself grace. I can feel everything that I can feel the pain. If it's just a day where I have like 9 out of 10 pain, I feel that. And I do my best to heal those places that are hurting. And then also explore the areas of my body that are feeling good, that are feeling stretched and open, and just it's really a dance. It's really a dance. It's like a a moment by moment embodiment, explorative dance. I feel like that's the best way I can kind of describe that.
And I'm kind of curious because, like, I get a sense as you talk up like so much. One, I just want to acknowledge again that like the ability to ask yourself like, where do I feel good, and give that your love and attention. I mean, that is a skill that is transformational. And but what I want to ask is or share, reflect, I don't know what's coming out of my mouth, I'm just going to speak. Your I sense that where you source identity is from the anchor, because I could see how if you identified yourself as I'm a PT, I'm a body worker, and then being diagnosed with a form of lupus that takes away the one skill, like I could see how easily it could be to lose your identity of who you are if that's the label that you put on them. Versus, and I don't know if you said this when we weren't recording, but can you share a little bit about how, like, when this diagnosis came, you asked like, okay, well, what is asking to come out? Like, how can, you said something about your words, like, how can I still help people if my hands aren't always feeling good? So I'm just like, I feel like there's this whole identity, and because you were anchored, you didn't lose the identity of I'm here to be a healer, I'm here to help people, because you had the anchor. Is that fair?
Yes, because I had, maybe not 5 years ago, but like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, hit a wall, and I was like, I need self-care. Like this is too much. And I think my journey of just really coming back to myself, I guess you can say, has allowed me to navigate this new diagnosis of lupus in a way that prepared me for it.
Yeah.
Although like nobody wants anything like this, right? But I just was able to, like, one, like not stay down too long, but also give myself that space if I needed to. Be tears, pajamas, hot water bottle, all the PT things, or not. I'm like the worst. Like, treating myself, in that way. But like, I just really wanted to treat myself in a way that really honored, like, okay, even though this is here, even though there's this diagnosis, I know that I'm not that. I know that. Like, I know that I'm not that. And I'm also not what the degree says, I'm so much more than that. I'm so much more than that. And I think my journey, like my spiritual journey, has really helped me understand that. I just have to give just have to give myself the permission to be who I am. And as like things are changing constantly on a day-to-day, like moment by moment basis, and there's so much uncertainty, yet there's so much like care that's necessary that I need to give to myself, and I need to allow myself to receive. I still have to just give myself permission to be who I am in the moment. Because if I was tethered to like the title of physical, like doctor of physical therapy, and it took me so long to like tag on that doctor on front of my name. Like we have this thing like in the PT world where it's like, am I a doctor? Like, yeah, I am. So it's just like this whole, like, we're so insecure about like, you know, carrying and really embodying what that means because of the way that the healthcare system is set up. But like, no, you get to give yourself permission to keep what you want to keep. Be who you are, and then also just discover who you are. Like, and I really discovered who I am, despite the diagnosis. It's really, I don't know.
Well, and did you want to finish that thought? Because may I reflect, like, however you identify yourself, I don't want to put words there, but just seeing that you still can positively impact and support other people, even if you are in pain, even if your hands don't want to work. Like we talked about how like your voice is healing, what your message is healing, your presence is healing, your heart is healing, like because you anchored into source and you anchored into something that was bigger than you. As these life changes come around, and we all know that change is the only constant thing, like it almost gave you, and what I've witnessed as it's kind of started to open up is that like this awareness of, I don't have to tether myself to some sort of way this is supposed to look, and I can still access all these amazing skills and talents that I have to help other people. Like I think one of your greatest skills is you are an amazing space holder. I watch your embodiment every, like when you literally drop into your body. I feel that, and I feel like I may have said this on one of our group calls in the program, but did you ever watch Twilight? I like Tweenie Bop. You didn't. Did I say this? I may have.
I think you
Okay.
did, yes.
Did you watch the movies? Did you read the books? I like teeny bopper books. I'm a bit of a like, they're easy reading. They can shut your brain off. But this, I swear to God, this is going to make sense. So in the Twilight books with the vampires, yes, I'm talking about vampires in an interview. What the storyline did was that all when they were humans, before they were vampires, they all had these natural abilities that when they were vampires were amplified. So one of the vampires had this ability that they could influence the mood of the room by how they felt. So anyway, what I'm trying to reflect is you have that ability that you palpably can shift somebody's ability to embody for themselves as you embody it for you. So like, to think about people who are around you and people who come to seek and work with you, it's not that you have to get them to embody. It's just like, no, I'm just going to hold this space. I'm just going to drop down and I'm going to, explore with you and be curious and anchor down with you. And as you anchor down in yourself, like they have the permission to like have that palpable experience and find that sense of home for themselves. And it's not that you have to take your hands and get them there. It's just like, you just get to live that. And I can only imagine that, like, the micro choices in that, to notice, oh, hey, there's pain here, but there's also openness here.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, hey, there's an energy of love or connection. Like, you get to do these little micro choices
Mm-hmm.
to drop back into the body. And like, that's how people learn the skill of this. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Those micro choices, I like that word micro choice, because it really is a moment by moment thing.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for reflecting that back to me, because it's something that I also have to teach my client, like that it's a choice. You know, I have to teach my clients that like, even though like you're in immense pain right now, and I acknowledge that pain, we feel that pain. I also have to know, like, you know, their window of tolerance for how they can sit in that energy, how they can be with that pain and energy. And to also know, like, no matter what, you know, manual therapy technique that I do, it wouldn't be enough, because if I wasn't empowering that client to really drop down and like feel, first of all, feel and make a different choice, like feel it, to really understand like what's there, and then to just be able to make a different choice for themselves. I would feel like I would be leaving them hanging. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much to the healing process when you can share that with people, and you can hold that space for whatever shows up. And then when it shows up, to still continue holding that space.
Yeah.
And then, and this has been a learning for me, is to really like, okay, now that we see it, we see you, like we're in it, like how we can move forward. And you get to create what that new like journey looks like. You get to co-create that. You get to, like, you know, ground yourself in whatever you believe, ground yourself, and then you get to create that. And so, like, you know, going through just the pain in my hands and not being able to like put my hands on people, I just really had to open up to there's a possibility that there's something else here, you know, because, you know, source wouldn't just leave me hanging like that and leave me hanging. So I really had to believe that, oh, okay, I get to share my voice. I get to hold space for people in a different way. Yeah.
You also demonstrate it very well. Just like, you get to show them that there's another option. Like, you get to show them what the other choice looks like. And maybe it's not always easy, but like, I how amazing is it to be able to meet somebody where they are and say, look, I get this too. And I have to make these choices every day too. And I have to do this work every day too. And I get that right now the pain feels really big. The life change that you're going through right now feels really big. And I'm going to meet you where you are, and I'm going to hold space. And you said this earlier about like how transformational it is to be around other people that see you as whole. Like, you get to see them as whole while they have that experience. Hold the space, demonstrate what a different choice might look like, and just, yeah, work with them. And it just, I feel how what it's almost like there's this energy of they come in, it's very stagnant, it's very stiff, it's very like this is how it has to be, and you almost like open them and like I love the to me change is very much like a dancing energy, but you get to dance with them and guide them and just like kind of hold the space and say, hey, I'm gonna be in this here with you, and I'm gonna demonstrate and feel this, and like that's part of how you get to serve and support people that doesn't require this, you know, manual treatment. And
Mhm.
I'm just feeling this whole like energy shift of healing, and while um this might come off in the wrong way, so I'm hoping this comes off in a loving energy that I'm intending. I would never wish chronic pain upon anybody. And I am so sorry that that has been a part of your journey. And I just am so grateful to a universe that brought your light into the world, and um, and your voice, and just know that your voice has power. And I wonder if maybe there's an opportunity someday in your life where you get to impact and share and serve, continuing with your voice without the pain. That is my wish and hope for you, that exists for you in your lifetime.
Yeah, I received that. Thank you. Um, you know, there's perspective in everything, and um, I do believe in miraculous healing. I do believe in um, just shifting and using whatever circumstances you're in,
Yeah.
um, as a way to just find depth. And, you know, if I am here to deal with or navigate through having chronic pain and lupus and whatever it means to have, yeah, we know the scientific meaning and like the whole pathophysiology of what it means to have an autoimmune condition. Um, just the resources that I have just will allow me to just navigate this with grace, you know. And it's like I always, you know, me and God have this thing where I know He has a sense of humor, right? and like I'm glad that I can tap into my joy and my sense of humor, because it's really part of what has allowed me to just have this perspective shift. And, you know, God wants to show me what it's like to heal from and find alternative ways to heal my body, heal my spirit, so that I can share it with other people. Okay, cool.
I'm there for that. Like, hells yes.
And it took me a while to get to that point, but I just know I have so much resiliency. I have so much strength.
Yeah.
That okay, all right, we
Yeah.
can do this, you know. So I just stay in that energy. Um, of just looking towards my joy and just looking towards how I can just be of service to others.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, it requires a lot of vulnerability, which is new and different. You know, we're supposed to be like this expert professional. You come in my office, like, I'm going to tell you what to do. But it's a journey. Yeah, it's a journey and a learning. So
I would say thank God you show up and show a different way, because I think sometimes I could talk about professionalism and how I think It's a little bit whack sometimes, and how it blocks like the best healers because you have to put yourself in the box of professional. Oh, be
Yeah.
you, bring it all out. So amazing. Delaila, you are just such a gem. Thank you for it's like we got 2 interviews in one today. I just thank you for just all your love and joy and heart and just everything.
Thank you so much
So
for holding
appreciate you.
space. And
Oh
yeah,
my
I
gosh.
enjoyed this.